Have you ever met someone and felt like they saw you instantly? Not casually, not slowly. I mean completely. Like they looked at the whole world and chose you. They text you good morning. They text you good night. They ask if you ate, if you slept, if you got home safe. They remember tiny things, your favorite drink, that one story you told once, the thing you said you were scared of, the song you played in the car. And for a while, it feels unreal. Not bad unreal, perfect unreal. Like finally, after all the disappointment, all the confusion, all the emotionally unavailable people, someone arrived who just knows. And before you even realize what's happening, you start thinking, maybe this is different. Maybe this is rare. Maybe this is what real love is supposed to feel like. Pause for a second, because this is exactly where people get trapped. What feels like deep connection can sometimes be something much darker. It has a name, love bombing. And the reason it works is because it doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like being chosen. If you've ever experienced this, you already know how powerful that feeling is. And if you haven't, you might still be more vulnerable to it than you think. Because love bombing does not only work on insecure people. It does not only work on lonely people. And it definitely does not only work on naive people. It works on intelligent people, self-aware people, strong people, careful people. Because the tactic is not built on stupidity. It's built on biology. Your brain loves reward. And in the beginning, that's exactly what this person becomes. A reward. Every message feels good. Every compliment lands. Every moment of attention creates anticipation. And little by little, your nervous system starts linking this person with relief, validation, excitement, hope. That is why logic often loses this fight. Because by the time your mind says, something feels off, your body is already attached. And this is where it gets dangerous. Love bombing is not always loud. It's not always dramatic. It's not always roses, long paragraphs, and wild declarations of destiny. Sometimes it's quieter than that. Sometimes it looks like consistency. Sometimes it looks like emotional intelligence. Sometimes it looks like somebody who just seems too good to be true. They show up perfectly. They say the right thing. They mirror your values. They make you feel deeply understood. And that is what makes it confusing. Because the problem is not intensity by itself. Real connection can feel intense too. The difference is what happens when reality enters the room. Real affection can handle time. It can handle boundaries. It can handle disagreement. It can handle space. Love bombing can't. Because love bombing needs speed. It needs escalation before clarity, attachment before evaluation, commitment before evidence. So let me ask you something. When somebody likes you, do they want to know you, or do they want to secure you? There's a huge difference. Someone who truly cares does not panic when you slow the pace. Someone genuine does not get cold because you asked for time. Someone real does not act wounded because you set one small boundary. That reaction matters a lot. Because one of the clearest signs of love bombing is not what happens when you give them everything. It's what happens when you don't. When you reply a little later. When you say no. When you ask to slow down. When you don't mirror the intensity back. That is usually when the shift begins. And the shift is everything. The attention that felt constant becomes inconsistent. The warmth becomes unpredictable. The person who once made you feel adored now makes you feel anxious. You start checking your phone more, rereading messages more, overthinking tone more, and without noticing it, you stop asking, why are they changing? And start asking, what did I do wrong? That question destroys people, because now the relationship has changed shape. You are no longer receiving love. You are chasing the return of it. And psychologically, that trap is incredibly powerful. There's a term for it. Intermittent reinforcement. It is one of the strongest behavioral hooks known in psychology. Because when affection becomes unpredictable, the brain does not relax. It obsesses. The same uncertainty that fuels gambling addiction can also fuel emotional addiction. Not because the reward is consistent, because it isn't. Because sometimes it appears, and sometimes it disappears. And that sometimes keeps you hooked. You keep thinking, maybe the old version of them will come back. Maybe this bad phase will pass. Maybe if I explain myself better, love harder, stay calmer, need less, then it will feel like the beginning again. But that beginning may have been the trap. And this is the part people rarely say out loud. The aftermath of love bombing doesn't always feel like abuse. Sometimes it feels like failure. You don't think, I was manipulated. You think, I ruined it. I asked for too much. I became too emotional. I wasn't enough to keep them the way they were at first. And that is why this kind of damage can last so long. Because it doesn't just break your heart. It attacks your trust in your own perception. So if you're listening to this right now, and someone in your life moved too fast, felt too perfect, then suddenly became confusing, distant, or conditional, pay attention. Not just to what they say, to the pace, to the pressure, to the pattern. Pay attention to whether closeness feels safe or addictive. Pay attention to whether your boundaries are respected or treated like rejection. Pay attention to whether time makes the connection stronger or exposes that there was never anything stable underneath it. And most importantly, pay attention to how you feel when they are absent. A healthy connection brings peace. Love bombing brings withdrawal. You don't feel calm. You feel hunger. You feel the urge to check, to wait, to hope, to decode. That is not always love. Sometimes, that is your nervous system begging for a reward it was trained to expect. And that is why the most dangerous manipulation doesn't begin with pain. It begins with euphoria. It begins with intensity, attention, certainty, chemistry. It begins with someone making you feel more seen than you have felt in a very long time. And that is exactly why people fall for it. Because when something feels like the answer to an old emotional wound, you do not examine it carefully. You move toward it, fast. So the next time someone enters your life like a storm, promising forever before they have learned your middle name, don't just ask how strong it feels. Ask how stable it is. Because real love does not need to rush you to reach you. And anything that demands your attachment before it earns your trust is not romance. It is pressure wearing the face of devotion.